In this episode, I really want to talk about love bombing, which is something that I've wanted to talk about for a long time. But what really reminded me is when I was just watching the Melanie Gibb interview, and she was talking about how Chad and Laurie made her feel like she was special and unique, as if she was one of the chosen one. And I think that's very much what love bombers do. I mean, they're narcissists and they lure you in with their superficial charm. They put you on a pedestal, they flatter you, they give you excessive attention, and that is how they groom you, that's how they prime you, that's how they brainwash you. The narcissist has to engage with you first. They need to build a rapport with you in order to gain your trust so you can buy into their fake facade. Now, love bombing is often spoken about in regards to romantic relationships, but cult figures use love bombing to their advantage as well. Cult figures use flattery and attention in order to recruit new members. And that's how Jim Jones, that's how Chad Daybell, that's how people like Charles Manson got members to join their cult by using whatever weapon that they had to gain new members, gain people's trust, particularly people like Charles Manson. He preyed on like very young girls. He would pretend to care about their problems. He would, pretend to be a father figure to them, tell them how beautiful they were. All of these things, narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths alike will use to lure you in. And it's basically superficial charm and flattery. Superficial charm is one of the main marketing tools of a narcopath. Now, a narcopath is somebody who is a narcissist and a sociopath, or a narcissist and a psychopath all in one. This is the way the narcissist sells their best asset to you. This is how they target you. They use their charm. They are smooth operators. They are cocksure, engaging, slick, suave, and have a lot of game. Now, like I said, in love bombing, the person, the narcissist who's trying to lure you in and who's using superficial charm on you, they will use flattery to get your attention in order to engage you and in order for them to gain your trust. I could really speak about my own experience with love bombing, and I can tell you it wasn't a very nice experience. I've only known about love bombing for about 3 years. Before, I had no idea what love bombing was. And when I actually experienced the love bombing and then the discard in a very short period of time, I was left just totally and utterly shocked. Because I thought to myself, how does this person go from being so interested, so loving, calling me all the time, leaving so many texts, telling me all the things that a woman wants to hear? How does that person go from being so affectionate, in lavish displays of affection, to discarding? Well, the thing about love bombing is that it's fake. It's not real. It's not authentic. And it's a tool used by narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths in order for exploitation. It's how they exploit their victims. And I think Chad Daybell used that on his followers, because I do think that it was a cult. And it's also how people use, people use flattery and charm, their fake facades, to lure women in. Like, for example, this woman in Australia, she was in her 50s, her husband died, she was a lonely widower, and she met this 26-year-old Nigerian guy online. And she was so naive to what was happening. You know, he was telling her all the things that she wanted to hear, telling her how beautiful she was, how much he wanted to be with her, how sexy she is, how they would have the great life together. He was telling her all these things so he could get her money. So each time he would tell her how beautiful she was, for example, when they had a conversation on the phone, he would say afterwards, can you send me some money? And it got to the point where she kept on sending him money. And he even asked her to sell her house so they can, buy a house together in Nigeria and build a new life together. And she was actually dumb enough to sell her house, to go to Nigeria to be with this man. And what happened is, when she went to Nigeria, no one could find her afterwards. And you have lots of these stories, these horrific stories of people being exploited online for monetary gain. And that's exactly what love bombers do. They exploit you for their own gain. It's not about you. The way they tell you how beautiful you are, how intelligent you are, them wanting to be with you all the time, calling you, the roses, the champagne, all of these things. And obviously, can I just say one thing? The narcissist who's love bombing you can only do what he has the means to do. So obviously, the narcissist with the more financial resources, he can take you on holiday, he can wine and dine you. Narcissists who don't have the financial resources can only do so much to love bomb you. So, it's not always about taking you out to dinner, taking you out dancing, buying you jewelry. It's not always about that. Love bombing is really when a narcissist targets you and lures you in with excessive flattery. And there's a difference between flattery and compliments and superficial charm. Because when you compliment someone, you're basically giving them a genuine compliment. You are saying you're good at this or you are this because you genuinely mean it. But when somebody is actually flattering you, they're doing so. For example, if someone tells you, oh, you're so sexy and you're so intelligent, a love bomber who tells you that, they're doing so because they think that's going to gain your trust. It's going to gain your attention. It's going to make you want to spend time with that person. And that's exactly what love bombing is. It's the way a narcissist uses superficial charm and flattery to lure you in. I also call it the idealization phase. At the very beginning of a relationship, there's a cycle with love bombing. I'm going to go to the discard at another time. But basically, the narcissist puts you on a pedestal, idealizes you, tells you all the things that you want to hear, feeds your ego so they can exploit you. Like I said, I think this is what Chad Daybell did. This is what Charles Manson did with his followers. Even people like Bernie Madoff, who run financial scams, they all do it in their own way. And I think for women particularly, it's very, very important that we can spot a love bomber in the very early stages, because when the discard happens, it can be very, very discouraging, disheartening, painful. And the truth of the matter is, love and relationships take time to build. So if somebody is giving you excessive flattery, excessive attention, if someone wants to be with you all the time, if someone keeps telling you how wonderful and great you are consistently, very early on in a relationship, I'm not saying that necessarily means that they're love bombing you, but it probably means that something's not quite right about that person, and it's something that you should take note of. It probably means that they're not being completely genuine. So I've had my own experience with love bombing, and I don't think I want to talk about it right now, but it's a very, very aggravating experience. It's not a nice experience because there's nothing authentic or real about love bombers. They're fake people. And it's very good to spot these type of people in the very early stages. So anyone who you meet who is giving you excessive attention, who wants to see you all the time, who's constantly calling you or texting you, is constantly telling you how intelligent and beautiful you are, and they're doing it to an extreme extent, it's probably somebody you don't want to get involved with. It's part of grooming, it's part of priming, and it's part of brainwashing. And like I said, it's not just men who are narcissists. it's not only men who are looking to get into a relationship with you, it's also cult figures like Chad Daybell. So cults will use it, cult leaders will use it, people who are trying to get into a romantic relationship with you will use it. And it's just basically an excessive form of attention and flattery, where somebody uses superficial charm on you to lure you in with their fake facades. And usually it doesn't last very long, because we can't fawn over somebody every single day of our lives, because people have flaws. But when you meet the love bomber, to them, they don't treat you as if you have any flaws at all. They treat you as if you're this perfect being who is going to make their lives wonderful. They treat you as this perfect being who deserves all the attention, all the love, all the flattery, all the charm. And it's just a way that they groom you and brainwash you into thinking that they're good people. And it's just a way to exploit you. So I just wanted to say that about love bombing, because I think it's something that women need to be aware of. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who is making you aware of love bombing. I mean, it's something that is common knowledge these days. But 4 or 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when it first happened to me, or when I first recognized that something wasn't quite right with the excessive attention this person was giving me in very early stages, I didn't have any clue what it was. And when I found out what love bombing was, I was completely shocked, because I realized I had been love bombed and then discarded and then hoovered, which is something else that I would talk to you about in another time.